This audiobook, Orbing into Eternal Life, will begin giving you the true story of how one man actually turned his body into a light orb and orbed to the other side, to the spiritual side of creation, and then returned to his body after a strange series of events, much like a funny thing happened on the way to the forum, happened during the events into ascension. All of these things need to be known, understood, and demonstrated on earth at this time. The moment-by-moment story is told, and now this actual event that took place, allowing Joe's body to be turned into light, carrying the demons back to source, and then how Joe's body was hit by a 10-ton truck, hurled across a freeway, run over by 5 cars in order to create the hologram of a body that was again turned into an orb, lifted onto a spaceship within Mount Shasta as the body that was carried on a helicopter to Mercy Hospital seemed to have its head broken in half, a leg ripped off, thousands of bone broken within the back and hip, and was laying in a coma that the doctors announced as dead. This book will help you learn more about what death actually is, what the subconscious and secondary consciousness are doing during the near-death experience, and what it is that allows the person to return to their body after they are announced dead. These facts are revealed in Section 2. Section 3 teaches the listener how to use the magic mirror to train the secondary consciousness to open the pathway of oneness with the spiritual parallel selves who exist within infinite versions of reality in the antimatter world of multidimensionality. Section 4 explains the process of metamorphosis that the DNA goes through when the body flashes into light and returns as a new body. We are moving into the spiritual reality, the invisible part of reality that we have never achieved or performed before this time because we were not given the formulas. Now I am giving you the formulas, how to orb, how to transcend the body, how to ascend, how to reprogram the DNA. All of these ideas and formulas can be found at crystalmagicorchestra.com and from titles of Dr. Angela Barnett at amazon.com. This audiobook, Orbing into Eternal Life, will begin giving you the true story of how one man actually turned his body into a light orb and orbed to the other side, to the spiritual side of creation. This audiobook will focus on a part of our movie that was only mentioned briefly in that book, 12 DNA Through the Music of the Spheres, with the Keys to the Universe. This book will focus on the story of how and why my husband was able to turn his body into an orb of light energy and disappear. The first book only told the story of what happened after he disappeared. This book will explain the actual quantum science of turning the body into an orb, and this is explained in great detail in Section 4. One of the reasons for this universal event of one man disappearing from Earth after becoming an orb of light and then learning that the body can return to Earth after the passenger has been taken to the other side of the veil, separating the physical from the spiritual, is the true formula of ascension that needed to be demonstrated on Earth at this time. This audiobook will begin with a true story of how I watched my husband become an orb of light and then disappear. When his body returned to my living room, there was a different being living within it. The being was Marcus, who announced himself as the key member of our Oversoul group consciousness. This formula needed to be demonstrated on Earth at this time because our Earth's consciousness, meaning the crystalline grid time capsules lining our Earth that contain the stories of reality, are awakening now in the consciousness of those on Earth. Because of those of us, Angela and Joe, Christole and Atene, who have prepared the future path for all starseeds to the future, to follow in this path. This part of God's movie was to show the reality of the man who is visible and the man who is invisible existing simultaneously in no time. This is the true purpose of this ascension process that is taking place on Earth. We must return to the oneness with our original spiritual self, whom we meet with when we go through the portal of light and walk through the diamond door into the mind of God. Now we know how to do this without dying. That is how we make God's movie. We bring the pictures developed through the infrared flashing and then develop the new reality on this side of the veil. This is a new time of light and sound when we create new realities by raising consciousness, by combining consciousness with new higher frequencies of light and sound, and the formula of consciousness plus energy equals a new reality. Every time we take our consciousness to a higher level of light and sound, a higher frequency, the consciousness flashes into a brand new reality. So this experience was to show that there could be one reality taking place on Earth, with one body being dead, one body being ripped to shreds with the head cut in half, the leg ripped off, and yet another reality of that same exact person be sitting in the ocean of love within the mind of God. And this is the reality that is being returned to Earth at this time. Multidimensional realities can be taking place simultaneously, and we can move into that chosen version of reality that we choose to be within. Joe could choose to be in the reality of sitting in the mind of God. He could be riding a spaceship through Mount Shasta. He could be laying on a table in an operating room at Mercy Hospital. And he could be in his light body 3 feet around that body in the hospital, speaking to me in another invisible reality that was experiencing no pain because he was out in his secondary consciousness enjoying his trips through multidimensionality while he was sitting in the other mind of God and talking to me at the same time in the hospital. So these are the multidimensionalities that are being discovered as we go through this new time, as we're going to be moving from the first harmonic universe into the second harmonic universe, meaning a new frequency put with our consciousness, which equals a new reality to be discovered, things that we have never known and seen or experienced before. This experience was given to us to pave a path for others to know that they can have the same experience. You don't have to have the experience of having your body demolished on a freeway, but you can have the experience of going to the mind of God through secondary consciousness and staying in the body, or turning your body into an orb of light and going into the mind of God, or orbing into other parallel spiritual realities. These are all things that we're all going to be able to do in the very near future. By as early as 2047, these will be commonplace events on Earth. And between this time and now, there will be more and more people learning how to do these things on planet Earth. Those entities who were taken by fallen angels who turned into demons were at one time the most loving, grand beings in the cosmos. It was this memory of the greatness of the cosmic dolphins that inspired the return of the cosmic twins to Earth to carry the cosmic dolphins who had been the fatally carrying the great darkness that would block the ascension of all of Earth back to the source of their original creation, where they would return to the memory of the greatest ocean of love, where they were born from. That was the reason for this cosmic plan of possession by the demons, that arranged holographic events created by the Elohim, Syrians, and Pleiadians, allowing this special event that would allow Joe to turn into an orb of light and carry the demons home to God.